U.S. intelligence agency, mind control.
We're getting live updates from inside the courtroom, and it's actually getting quite testy in there, where the judge has just raised his voice for the first time as he is pressing Trump's legal team about what is a pretty extraordinary allegation that they're making against the district attorney's
smug-looking lady.
That's right. They have accused the district attorney's office of professional misconduct, prosecutorial misconduct. They've even suggested that they should be sanctioned. And the judge said, look, that's a, quote, incredibly serious, unbelievably serious accusation. Not only are you accusing the prosecutor's office of misconduct, but you're also trying to make me, the judge, complicit in it. And he pressed the Trump legal team to come up with some case law, some specifics to support this allegation. Because the reason we're here today for this hearing and not for the first day of the trial is that federal prosecutors handed over hundreds of thousands, 100,000 documents. Now, that was not the Manhattan district attorney that did that. Those are federal prosecutors. So the judge here is pressing the Trump attorneys on why you can accuse the Manhattan district attorney's office of prosecutorial misconduct because the Justice Department didn't hand something over. Now, the Trump attorneys argue that the district attorney's office should have pushed for these documents themselves. They should have asked for these specific materials, and they're having a pretty intense exchange now with the judge. Now, again, this is the first time the judge has really raised his voice, saying the fact that they don't even have any case law to support this very serious accusation is, quote, really disconcerting. So our colleagues tell us that the judge, Judge Juan Merchan, he has been pretty level throughout the hearing, but he's gotten a lot more animated. And it's interesting because this shows that he's not going to tolerate just these throwaway accusations that someone is corrupt, right? Or that they're engaging in misconduct. And he is holding their feet to the fire, asking for actual proof, support, case law for this accusation. So this is significant and maybe a preview of how the judge will handle this trial. And when Trump's legal team,
that's a pretty good sign.
They clearly don't seem to actually think they're going to get it dismissed, even though they are asking for that and a delay if they don't get it dismissed. What was their tactic kind of going into this today when it came to these documents? Because right now they haven't been able to tell the judge
I had my volume down because I was
they
catching
believe they'll have to review before this case can proceed.
What they wanted to do here is to try and explain that every single document that was turned over was relevant in some way, because the more documents that are relevant of this 100,000, the longer that this trial will be delayed, because then the legal team will have to actually be able to go through that. So really the strategy here is how can we draw this out as long as possible? As we talked about, part of that is also can we push this up close to the November election? They believe the closer this gets to November, the more difficult it's going to be to have a trial at that time, the more politically explosive it's going to be at that time.
Didn't really miss
the other thing I wanted to point out here is one of the things that our colleagues were saying.
It's so funny how much they're milking
a lot of
this.
leaning back in his chair, folding arms, and looking at Todd Blanche. Todd Blanche has really become Donald Trump's favorite.
The one interesting part was that they were talking about how the judge, every time Trump would do one of his stupid accusations or far-flung claims, he would be like, all right, prove it to everything, flippant or not. And I love that. Because you're in a courtroom, you say something, fucking prove it. It'll shut him the fuck up, that's for sure, or it'll make him lose. So I support this.
Yeah, that's what was funny with Alex Jones. She's like, you need to stop lying. This isn't. This is a courtroom. This is real life.
Lawyer of the lawyers that he has. He believes that he's a fighter. He believes that he's out there. But this is interesting to see Todd Blanche having essentially a very tense moment with this judge. Donald Trump really wants to see his lawyers pushing the envelope, pushing for sanctions, pushing.
Yeah, that's why they all go to jail.
What we're getting from witnessing this right now, listening to what questions the judge is asking, is he is very skeptical of Trump's allegations against Trump's legal team's allegations against the district attorney's office. And essentially what he seems to be asking is it the district attorney, Alvin Bragg's obligation to get the Southern District of New York, to get them to turn over these documents? And that's the heart of the disagreement here, because the Trump attorneys are saying, look, this was the district attorney's job.
Yeah, I was trying to, I guess because that's a default one, I
can't edit it. The judge is pushing back on that, saying, no, it's actually not, he calls them the people, who represent the people of Manhattan, the people's job to do this. And I think this is important because this is showing that the judge, not only is he upset at the fact that they made this accusation and cannot support it, he's really showing how he's going to handle a criminal win in the Trump legal team's eyes.
Well, I'll tell you that they thought this was a huge win. I mean, just this delay till April 15th. They were fully 100% planning to start their trial today. They believed they were going to. They were planning a campaign schedule around it. They still are telling me that they're going to probably likely start the campaign for just Wednesdays and Saturdays, the days that they're not in court, because eventually this trial is going to start. This was huge for them. They were happy about it. Now you're saying they're kind of pushing the envelope, and it sounds like the judge believes they're pushing the envelope here. But this was good for them, and they want to continue to do that because the whole goal is to push all those other trials past the election.
All right, Kristen Holmes, Paula Reed, Jim, obviously what is clear and what we are getting out of the courtroom right now is that this judge is deeply skeptical about the claims being made by the Trump legal team. The big question, of course, is whether or not that affects when he sets that trial date and if he does so by the time they leave this courtroom today.
Yeah, absolutely, Caitlin. Let's continue to talk about this. Here with me now, CNN chief legal analyst Laura Coates, CNN chief domestic correspondent Phil Mattingly, and CNN senior legal analyst and former federal prosecutor Ellie Honig. I mean, Laura, just to dive into what they were talking about a few moments ago, I mean, the judge kind of going after the defense team a few moments ago, saying you are literally accusing the Manhattan DA's.
All right, we're done with this one. What a doofus.
In a win for former President Donald Trump, a New York appeals court sharply reduced the nearly $500 million bond in a civil fraud case to $175 million. And the former president now has 10 days to come up with that money. The ruling comes on the same day that the former president was in court, as a judge set an April 15th trial date in the criminal hush money case against Mr. Trump. NBC's Alice Barr has the new details.
A victory and a setback today for Donald Trump in his New York legal fights. A judge ruling jury selection can begin April 15th in the hush money case against the former president, rejecting his legal team's request for another delay and setting him on track for his first criminal trial, just as the 2024 campaign is ramping up.
What they do is they do election interference, which is court cases and...
Wait, is that... Did they say criminal? These the first of the criminal ones?
I think so. I'm doing an edit layout. My contact is really irritating.
Let's try and tie him up and let's take as much of his money as possible.
Legal analysts say the case is about election interference, but that former President Trump is not the victim. Rather, he's accused of falsifying business records to hide a hush money payment to cover up an alleged affair with a porn star before the 2016 election.
It's about an effort to pull the wool over the eyes of voters.
Why would you cover that up?
They didn't have access to important information about a candidate.
Mr. Trump denies the allegations.
I would have no problem testifying. I didn't do anything wrong.
Hoggers! An appeals court reduced the bond former President Trump has to pay in his New York civil fraud case from more than $450 million down to $175 million. And instead of paying up today or risking having his assets seized, he has an extra 10 days to come up with the money. The former president said he will pay it.
And we'll post whatever's necessary, whether it be cash or security or bonds.
The Trump legal team working to appeal a judge's ruling from February that found Mr. Trump liable for lying about his wealth to get better deals from lenders. In Washington,
I did everything right and they indicted me.
When pressed by reporters, the former president says that he thought it would be possible to borrow the money from a foreign entity, but that he wouldn't need to because he says he has plenty of cash.
You mentioned the cash you have. You said on Friday, something like $500 million. You intend to put some of that into the campaign. Now that the bond's been reduced, are you going to start putting money into your campaign?
Yeah.
You haven't done that since 2016.
Well, first of all, it's none of your business, I mean, frankly. But I might do that. I have the option. But if I have to spend $500 million on a bond, I wouldn't have that option. I'd have to start selling things. I don't.
Why is he? Is it only me, or does he look like he's wearing very pale lipstick?
He's just a bizarre looking guy, man.
Spend a lot of money on my campaign, but I should have that option. A crooked judge shouldn't say, we're going to have you post a bond and take all of that money that I could be spending on a campaign or other things if I want to do other things.
We want to bring in CNN's Kristen Holmes to fact check that because, Kristen, when Trump first made that claim on social media last week, saying that he had enough money to cover at the time the $460+ million bond.
Oh my God, is this really what they're fact checking?
Saying he's not exactly that liquid, right?
Yeah, look, he actually is liquid enough for the $175 million. As far as we can tell from every assessment we've seen of his finances, all the records that he's had, he is roughly $300 to $400 million. But a lot of that is still not completely liquid, but it would likely cover this $175 million. The other part of this is the underwriters who said that they would only qualify, they would only underwrite a bond for $100 million. A lot of that because of precedent. Wow. People did not have or had never underwritten a bond that was $500 million. That is an enormous amount. What I want to specify here and point out, one of the things we've been talking about this New York civil fraud case for the last several months has been how critical this is and how much this really plays to who Donald Trump is. The reason he's been there is because it goes to his identity, his core, his brand. You have never heard him be so personal, so angry, and so public about that until today. Today, over and over and over again, saying that he was rich enough, that he built a great company. One day, someone reported how great his company is, saying he had so much cash on hand, how good his brand was, several times saying how many different properties he had, how in New York he had built up an entire conglomerate. He is defending what he believes is the core of his identity and being. It is what he ran on in 2016. It is what helped propel him to the White House, this idea that he was this billionaire, this wealthy businessman. And you heard him tripling down on that today. That is the kind of stuff when we are reporting that he is privately angry, that he has been ranting about this. What you saw today was that. He just
Trump's always angry. He's always mad. Fucking hell. Why? CNN is just annoying. Fuck's sake. Gorka.
Talking of your picks, I've been told who you are considering as vice president. I've been told I can't announce it until it's official. When are you thinking of making that announcement, sir?
No hurry, and there is no one person. I mean, I'll say there are numerous people.
Donald Trump insinuated that right-wing interviewer Sebastian Gorka is lying about knowing who Trump is going to select for his vice president. This is absolutely fascinating to hear. Once again, for those who are not familiar with Sebastian Gorka, I envy you. I wish.
How does he get a 7-minute video from a 5-second clip? I really hope there's more. I really hope there's more.
I mean, David talks a lot.
Sebastian Gorka, but I am. Sebastian Gorka has been saying for weeks that he has been told who Trump's vice presidential running mate is going to be. He sort of tries to mention that as a flex during an interview with Trump on the Salem News Network. And Trump effectively says that it's a lie by saying, I haven't decided yet. There's no way you could possibly know that.
I know, we
Trump
got
politely
that.
saying to Gorka. But there is a but here. Let's take a listen to this clip first, and then I'll tell you more about it.
Talking of your picks, I've been told who you are considering as vice president. I've been told I can't announce it until it's official. When are you thinking of making that announcement, sir?
No hurry, and there is no one person. I mean, I'll tell you, there are numerous people. But we have a lot of great people in the Republican Party. We have a lot of great people that nobody ever heard of in the Republican Party.
So Gorka says, I've been told who it is.
And
Trump says, there isn't a who it is because I haven't actually decided. Now, the only problem with this is Trump also has said he already decided.
Can we go back to CNN?
Back to this
God damn.
Because when Trump said it, I said to you,
whoa, Trump said it. Crazy.
Because Trump may be lying here because later on, after this January 10th moment, Trump said, I'm considering lots of people. But Trump did say on Fox News months ago that he knew who it was going to be. I guess that was a lie. Remember this?
Let me just ask you a follow-up on that about who would be in your cabinet, in your administration. If you are the nominee, which I know you expect to be, who would be in the running for vice president?
Well, I can't tell you that really. I mean, I know who it's going to be.
Give us a hint.
We'll do another show sometime.
I know who it's going to be. Trump now denies it. So was Gorka told something?
Crazy.
I don't know. Had Trump chosen someone in January, but
making shit up on the spot to make him seem like he always has a plan and always has it figured out. Crazy.
14 steps ahead.
Oh my god.
Oh
my god. This
changed his mind.
Really like, you know, the George Carlin joke where he's like, think of the dumbest guy you know, and like half of the people are dumber than that guy. You know, like that's the whole joke is like how stupid people truly are.
Yeah.
Trump lying in January. I don't know. But in any case, Trump insinuating there that Gorka is just making it up. Trump continuing the fear mongering. Trump saying if he does not become the next president of the United States is going to end. It will no longer be a country.
Oh, hang on.
Day, in my opinion,
you know who said that? Jack. You know who said something exactly like that? Huh?
Charlie Kirk, wasn't it?
No, come on.
Where is it? I can't even remember what it's called.
What?
Head to barbarism if the left wins.
Oh my God.
You will live in barbarism, period.
Oh.
It is a fight for civilization.
Whoa.
I mean, no, I mean, it's still on the same sentiment, but no, who said, if I'm not president, there is no country?
Oh, Hitler.
Yeah. Correct.
Pretty cool.
Country. If we don't win this election, we don't win it, we are going to, I think, possibly cease to be a country. I think it's going to be just some really horrible things.
It's going to be over, folks. If Trump doesn't win, the country is over. Now, it just so happens that in the first term,
let's see if Pacman picks up on this,
of Joe Biden, we have low unemployment.
No, because he won't do. So he's like, because he swings to the specific catering of liberal, that just is like, oh, these lefties, they call everyone they don't like fascist, you know, which is like an intro to the alt-right pipeline. So like for him, he refuses to call people like bad names or fascist or things like that. So he's not going to connect it to Hitler because he's so good faith about everything and like how he does his thing.
Naivety. Intentional naivety, it seems.
Projects generating new jobs, record job creation. More Americans have health care than ever before. GDP growth looks good. Wage growth is outpacing inflation. That's the first term of Biden. For some reason, we are to believe that a second Biden term would effectively end the United States. Pretty wild.
Yes, because
Trump
because the blood of the country will be tainted with the migrant influx that the Republicans are currently stalling and making worse.
The spirit of the country will be dead. It will no longer be the United States.
Union workers, if you vote against Trump, you aren't smart.
Oh no, you mean the nation that you stole from other people is going to get stolen from you?
How ironic.
Oh, and are they closely related to descendants of the people who first inhabited these countries?
Might be.
If any auto worker voted against Trump, they are not the smartest people.
Is this a good strategy? If Jews vote for Democrats, Trump recently said, they are voting for their own destruction. If union members vote for Democrats, they're dumb. If black people vote for Democrats, they're ignoring how great things were for black people.
You remember when Biden was like, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black? That was fun. That was pretty funny. That's basically what Trump's doing, but with everything.
Under Donald Trump. And then we get to, this is what we've been building towards. He did it in 2020, and he's doing it again.
I'm so excited, David.
Democrats
You've
will
built
try
it
to
up for
steal
so long.
2024. Haven't we heard this already?
Are you confident that this election, at least, will be secure and fair?
But they're going to try and rig it. I have no doubt about it. They've been doing it for years. And look, how can you win on open borders, high interest rates, a woke military, all the things that they talk
woke
about?
Military, bro.
All electric cars. How about all electric cars?
Oh, woke military.
Too much and they're made in China. How do you do that? So how can they win with what they do? Their policies are so bad. The thing they do best is cheating at elections and misinformation.
So listen, in 2020, starting over the summer,
you see this comment?
Donald Trump
what the
started
fuck? I don't even. Can you process what this even says?
There will be no elections. Lefties will create another crisis canceling to resume the evil power they possess. Okay, bro.
Like what?
So we can start killing the process.
No, Michael, that's not what this is about. Hang on, is this supposed to be a riddle? That's why it's phrased like this?
I know.
My resolution, airstrikes. Bomb them. Bomb them. Keep bombing them. Bomb them again and again.
Democrats
I have no
try
idea.
to steal this election. And it was Trump who tried to steal the election, and thankfully he failed. Now he's starting with Democrats are going to try to rig the election. We should understand that as I am going to try to rig the election, I being Donald Trump. That's the message I'm getting from this. And the allegations are admissions, seemingly. And he's telling it to us again. And by the way, what a wacky interviewer. That Sebastian Gorka, just teeing up easy questions.
Oh my God, I
Trump
fucking
that couldn't be
hate
any
this guy
easier.
so much.
And Trump's
bro.
still managing to mangle the responses in such a way that he comes off as a clueless dictator.
He implied that he's
that's
gonna,
Trump
that
at the
the
end of the
election's
day.
going to be
Let's
stolen
take a very
again.
quick break.
Okay.
What's going
Just keep going with Pac-Man.
Welcome, everybody. We had more primary
Yes.
elections last night. They are wholly irrelevant to who will be the nominee for each of the two
How
parties.
old
We
is
know
this?
that Joe Biden and Donald Trump will be the nominees. But there was
5
a very,
days,
very
go on.
interesting data point yesterday in Florida. Despite dropping out of the Republican primary race weeks ago, Nikki Haley still got more than 150,000 votes in the Florida Republican.
Here's something current.
Let's watch. Is Joe Biden's bid for re-election in trouble?
At the time for old men, it just isn't.
I definitely think they overlook the achievements of the Biden administration.
What is happening right now is an act of genocide. I feel like it's time for something new, but it is what it is.
With a seismic election looming, there's growing unease in the Democratic
It's
Party.
time for
Early
something
polling indicates
new.
wavering support for Joe
Mhm.
Biden.
Concerning to be behind Donald Trump at all, certainly by 5 points.
God, he
Support for the
speeds
war in
his
Gaza is
videos up as
alienating
well.
the progressive wing, and there's an electorate tired of the same
Yeah.
two older men.
Well, this might be a Hassan re-uploader.
Yeah.
I've come to Michigan, a vital swing state, to see for myself.
And he's
Is
gone.
Biden's coalition of voters faltering?
Epic.
Layla El-Abed is one of the founders of the Uncommitted
See,
campaign.
it's definitely
a group
edited.
that
He's
formed
already
just
back.
a few weeks ago. They were aiming for 10,000 uncommitted votes, roughly Trump's margin of victory here in 2016.
And they got it.
We're here to tell Joe Biden that we do not want our American taxpayer dollars funding the bombs that are killing.
We have escaped the torture background. What caused?
Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now!
We went for coffee in her home suburb of Dearborn, where 55% of residents are Arab American.
So you guys put a lot of faith in your vote last time, and if I'm getting it right, it feels like that didn't necessarily pay off.
No, not at all. I remember in 2020 asking my family members, asking my friends, really pushing the support around Biden. But right now, our American taxpayer dollars going to support weapons that are killing Palestinians every single day in the thousands, and we need to put that pressure on Joe.
Question: if their arms sales, is it taxpayer dollars?
Yes, because we still do the like relief funding, right? Because like there's already stockpiles, because
Sure.
money they can spend on those missiles are money that we already paid for interceptors with. Right, it's just
Right.
freeing up capital at one link down the chain.
Right.
Any type of aid is inevitably enabling.
Mm-hmm. So it's a laundering scheme. America.
Like you know, like
Israel buys weapons from America and gets the money back, and then endless circle.
You know, like when they just did the unfrozen assets for Iran, those
Mhm.
oil assets, right? And they said
That's a pretty
we have
funny
ways
idea.
to make sure they won't spend it on weapons, but have to spend it on like food and stuff. And like I was like explaining then how stupid that line is from the State Department, because it's just freeing up dollars that they would have spent on food to go to weapons. Like
Yes.
like how do you like money is like liquid, like
It doesn't just replace it or go away.
Biden to change course right now.
If the uncommitted vote continues into November during a general election, could well hand Donald Trump Michigan and maybe even the White House. How would you feel if that happened?
We know that Donald Trump is not a friend to our community, but right now Joe Biden is in a place of power to change course, and we are not the ones that should be held accountable for that. It is Joe Biden and his administration who will have to answer to that question come November if that's the case.
She's right. This whole
Back
thing
in
where
Flint,
it's like
I came to meet the local county.
if it's people who don't vote or people who vote third party, it's their fault the candidate lost. Oh, you know, people voted for the Green Party and that's why Hillary lost. No. Hillary wasn't a good enough candidate to win. Period. Joe Biden, if Joe Biden wants the votes, he's got to get them.
Yeah, he's got to make the decisions and the changes. But we'll see.
Tea Party at a union hall where members were holding a chili cook-off. Biden took an unprecedented step last year and joined Michigan auto workers on the picket lines calling for fairer
this was
wages.
huge.
Many people here
Getting
are
the auto
long-time union
workers
members, so we came expecting real enthusiasm.
was a big
This is not the time for old
coalition to get behind him.
Yeah, it's massive. And especially
he's
going
over
on
the
to
train
picket line with
workers.
them.
old men. It just isn't. It's dangerous to anoint somebody.
Damn.
That's what we
Damn.
did with the Hillary campaign. And
Damn.
there again, I feel like that's what we're doing again. We need more voices to combat.
Damn,
he's
they're
a dangerous
cooking 'em.
man.
I feel like it's time for something new, but it is what it is. So it's like I think
I saw online many Arab Americans talking about voting for Trump because they think that Trump would help the Palestinians with what's going on. Yeah. I don't know if this is like, I haven't seen this translated to like real results, because if that was the case, they wouldn't have done
Twitter's not a
uncommitted,
real
but
place.
instead
Moving
would
on.
have, voted for Trump in these like
What?
They said Twitter's not a real place. Moving on. Anecdotal
sure.
I saw
Like,
online shit is what we're discussing now.
for example, take a hardline position on Israel. Trump has said a bunch of stuff about how Biden doesn't love Israel no longer. For example, in recent days, he's started taking a more active role as Chuck Schumer
He
came
literally
out and spoke
said,
out against
if
Benjamin
you,
Netanyahu.
if you don't
Trump
vote
is
for me, you're
taking
not Jewish.
To the news media to be like, Biden doesn't love Israel as much as I do. However, the greatest way to showcase the differences between Joseph Robinette Biden and Donald Trump
So
would be
annoying, bro.
to take an active stance to show the people that you are in favor of a ceasefire, for example, or just like, to genuinely take
See,
actions that
honestly,
are
here's the
de-escalating
thing, like
Israel's
phrasing it
genocidal
that way.
campaign.
Of course, he's in favor of a ceasefire. He's like, come on, do you really think he's up there like, I want the war to continue? Like, that's not the issue. The issue is not his support for the ceasefire. Like they obviously support it. It's what they are willing to sideline as their own like position just to like maintain like a fucking friendly relationship with somebody. Because ultimately, they're just gonna say whatever whatever they're supposed to say. They have to fucking tiptoe around all that shit all the time. They can't just fucking say shit.
So that the
Unless
Trump
it's
campaign
Russia.
can turn around and say, well, our position is different. That's the issue here. So I don't even know if this is real because, you saw online.
No.
I don't know if this is a real thing that is happening. But if it was real, if it was real, then it is still the fault of the Democratic Party because thinking that the voters are making like reasonable decisions.
I know who can fix the problem.
And that
Actually, in the
dynamo
same
of
way that
energy
you're
and
seeing
excitement,
is
Jared
stupid. That's not
Kushner.
why or how people buy cereal even, okay? You have to sell
We're talking about cereal?
why people should vote for you.
I already
We have
said this.
completely
Remember when I
dropped
said this
in the
way long
most,
ago?
politically
And Tassan's just
cereal.
getting there. No. Just it's Joe Biden's fault if people don't vote for him.
Yeah.
inclined audiences,
And
especially. This is
he's
a
like 10
phenomenon
minutes
that I
behind
see
me.
in these circles more than anywhere else. We've dropped the notion the Democratic Party is supposed to try to win your vote. We are so used to people voting for the Democratic Party as a matter of harm reduction, as a matter of principle.
This is
Of course they're
another
gonna
thing.
vote
They
for the-
continually say this is a thing. Harm reduction.
Meaningless nonsense term. Meaningless.
Like the Republican Party, even under Bush, was not terrible, and they invaded fucking Iraq.
Yeah.
Like the party itself was not that bad under Bush, and like the government was fairly functional.
Yeah. It's just become idolatry at this point.
It's
for
because
not
of
even
Trump.
politicians.
It
Not
started
even
with
just
the
for politicians.
It was literally, you know what it is? It's because we got a black president, and it really broke racists, right? Because that's how the Tea Party came in response to Obama, right?
Yes.
And that's when you get the Ted Cruz's in there,
Mm-hmm.
which starts getting fringe, and then Ted Cruz opens up the pathway to Trump.
Yeah.
Like Ted Cruz was the top of the party and got usurped at the last second by Trump.
That was pretty funny. Imagine Ted Cruz as president. What a nightmare.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I don't think he would be bad. And when I say that, it's like I think
He would just be another president.
I wouldn't. It's not that I would agree with his decisions, but I think he would at least be. He's the type of guy who's going to go golfing when the nation's at crisis. Like he goes to Cancun when his state's in a crisis, right?
Mhm.
So we know what we're going to see. We're going to see like big tax cuts for the rich. Stuff like that.
The Democratic Party. What the do you mean that people just don't even consider how people vote anymore in a country where the plurality doesn't vote for either party? They just don't vote. You can't force Trump into taking a position. Trump will merely say this would have never happened if I were president, and I could end this in a day with a phone call without specifying how and his followers would eat it up. Yes. The difference, however, is that if Trump does start making more and more statements about how different his opinion is from the Biden campaign, and Biden actually shows the Arab
for
voters
example,
in America, if he does care about them at all.
Like
I don't think he
Biden
does.
McCain, I wasn't old enough to vote back then. Or not Biden McCain, Obama McCain, right? I wasn't old enough to vote back then. but I thought McCain was the better choice. I fucking hate John McCain. And I still stand by he would have been the better choice than Obama. Obama was awful. Awful. The things he did in foreign policy.
Yeah, the more you learn about him, the worse it
Yeah,
it gets.
Trump's incompetence really held him back.
The voters will make
And like
up
the
their
fact
own
that I
minds.
think Obama's worse than
You
a guy. He
cannot-
tortured people.
Continued on Bush. What Bush started. Made it worse. Escalated it. Created ISIS.
Yeah, well, no, he did what he basically pulled out. That was he pulled out and said, "Okay, fuck you, goodbye."
Did he fuck over the Kurds as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everyone out has. There's
Everyone?
Oh,
What
yeah,
a-
they always do. The Kurds are not technically our allies.
Yeah, they're just
they're
a
just
puzzle
like
piece for the
I
American
mean, if you
empire.
think about like militia groups that like the U.S. backs, it's very rare that they do it,
Okay.
right? But like there are ones that they do.
Mm.
There are, those state dollars do go to some of these groups. He's not going to lose any property
voters.
as of right
2020
now.
had the highest voter turnout in almost 100 years.
but
I wonder if
the thing that they were gonna take first was one of his like 50 golf courses in New York City.
there was another thing that happened in 2020 that caused.
It would have been great if they took his golf courses and turned them into public lands. Just completely pulled them up from being golf courses and just turned them into public land. That'd be great. Public parkland.
Universal ballot access and mail-in votes that may have greatly improved the number of people that ended up voting, because the number of people that ended up voting was also much higher on the Republican side too. Trump literally had a Muslim ban. Oh my God, I'm losing my mind. Trump is not currently the president. Brandon is. Brandon is the one that is responsible for the genocide in Gaza.
No,
His
he's not.
issues are that he is directly continuing
It's so
Trump-era
crazy
policies on Israel.
It's like they have to like
Remember-
make everything. It's like America did this. They have to tie it because they can't think. They're so restrained in their thinking that they literally can only process things in like an American-centric lens, where America is
So
what does
stupid.
everything. This is why it was so easy for Assadis to convince people that the destruction of the country was caused by America.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when you told my rat Marguerite that she was probably the greatest rat of all time? Well, her self-confidence has been way up since then. Thanks. I would like to reaffirm my commitment to the rat Marguerite as possibly the greatest rat of all time. Congratulations. Now, a couple months in a row, you have been declared possibly the greatest rat of all time. I'm talking like, what's that? Like higher than Charles
Who cares?
Entertainment Cheese, higher than Mickey Mouse, higher. I hold you to a higher
He used
esteem
Chuck E.
than
Cheese's government name.
than Ratatouille. Maybe not Stuart
has the
Little.
best chance.
Stuart Little's kind of the goat.
He's a mouse.
I think it's difficult to have a unknown name in a grassroots campaign.
You named all
And
those
I think
rats
that's what a lot of
ended with
people
a
are
fucking
seeking.
mouse.
I think there's
Idiot.
just barriers in place that make it difficult.
Fragile coalition, right?
You ever forget that frogs are not reptiles and
Second
they're
straight poll that has
amphibians?
shown age numbers that has Trump leading
They're
18 to
amphibians.
35,
No, I
nearly
never forget
identical
that.
numbers to the last poll.
Like
that
I've
you
had one of those
doubted.
blank
Holy
moments of you,
moly.
like I'm thinking of
Kids are
toads.
not all
You
right.
know, I'm thinking
Overall,
of
people
toads,
are
and I'm
happy
like,
overall.
oh wait, toads are amphibians.
Yeah. One, I don't really know what other animals are amphibians, though. It's only really frogs. I don't know what the other ones are.
Newts,
Sure.
axolotls.
Okay. It's very random.
Amphibians have like
Gills and lungs, I think.
no, they have a porous skin. They absorb anything through their skin.
Ah, okay.
So they like extremely susceptible to toxins. That's
Mhm.
why the frogs turn gay. Because they're so susceptible to being affected by toxins. And Jurassic Park, they put frog
Yes.
DNA in there, which is an
Mhm.
amphibian. They mixed an amphibian with a reptile. That doesn't seem
Yeah.
very smart.
Well, the new ones that they put cuttlefish DNA in now, it camouflages.
Well, that's stupid.
Yeah, it is dumb. it's a pretty entertaining movie though, because they
s-
engineer dinosaurs and shit and kills people. It's great.
Salamanders are also amphibians.
Salamanders are cool.
That's what we were forgetting about them. You get the big ones.
Yeah, giant salamanders.
All young people aren't in line with the prevailing research in the field. Most individuals. What is this? FAU Main Street Happiness Thermometer.
Yeah,
with our country, pretty much. Playing Jenga with our country.
They're gay filters.
What are gay filters?
Frogs.
Oh yeah, because they turn gay.
Frogs are gay filters. They get the gay out of your water.
Bro, what the fuck is
Ashley
this
Crew,
frog
chair
that
of the
I
party
just
here,
found?
was counting up the final votes for the cookout.
People are still
Bro,
voting, but
this is one of those animals that it's a rare once in a lifetime. Like it's like a blobfish. It's like there's only like
Yes.
one fish that's that stupid looking, right?
Mm-hmm.
This frog is the dumbest looking frog I have ever seen, ever.
It looks like a mole.
I think that's probably what they are. They're underground
Frog mole.
frogs.
Frog mole. Mole frog. Put mine back up. Put mine back up. What are you doing?
Oh, sorry. You can't do it
I
yourself.
am just starting
Nope.
to.
I was
You aren't
looking
playing
at
the videos. You do the back.
Can I ask you about another
Well,
election?
I was looking at
that's
other
happening,
amphibians
in
because
November?
I don't know what
So-
this thing
A lot of
is.
the members
I don't know
here.
how to say its name, right? But it's like
Spell it.
CAECILIAN.
Oh, it's a coelacanth or something like that. It's like a rockfish, basically. It's super interesting. There's no fucking way that's an amphibian.
Yeah, this worm-looking thing.
What the fuck? Crazy.
There actually seems to be quite a lot of ambivalence about his candidacy. I just wonder if you're bracing for an uphill battle in November.
I am aware of the the current kind of pushback that he's getting. I'm aware of the the push to vote uncommitted by some. I don't think for certain demographics he's not. I think their favorite choice, but I'm hoping that people will understand that if and when Joe Biden.
That's cool. That it is basically the same energy as the Biden campaign, which is very dangerous.
Biden gets the nomination, that he's going to be our candidate, and I'm hoping that they realize that the alternative is just not feasible.
And I want to say everybody's chili here was somebody's favorite. It looked like so every chili got at least some points. So thank you all.
All my Michigan Muslim friends are voting Trump because of genocide. Well, good luck if they think that Trump is going to be better on.
Yeah, that's a bad choice.
On the issue of Palestine or just Muslims in general. They're just wrong objectively. I'm not going to sit here
Bro,
and tell you.
you
That
mean
you
to
have
say
vote for
that you
genocide.
doubted
Joe, but make no mistake.
that this was an amphibian?
That is not what I was thinking.
You were thinking of a coelacanthus, the fish,
Sure. Yeah.
the ancient fish.
Yeah.
No, this is the penis snake thing.
Oh, okay.
I mean, look at that thing.
Yeah.
Yuck.
It's exactly like a penis. Absorbs shit through the skin. Infections and shit. Poison. Devil.
Definitely the fault of Joseph Robinette Brandon, but there's another party involved there that is infinitely more responsible, and that is
The people who did it?
Donald Trump. How will Biden be better? This doesn't mean
This
that
is a
Biden
really
going to be
bad take.
better, per se. I'm just simply stating
Political
that
expert,
Donald
bro.
Trump's actions.
This might be one of his
which the
worst
Brandon
takes.
administration
This is really
continued
bad.
on, as it pertains to
This is
Israel,
really
I haven't been
bad.
listening.
is
I was
exactly
learning
how
about
we got here to
amphibians.
begin with.
It's really
Problem
bad. It's
is,
real
The
bad.
Democratic Party is not doing enough to showcase the differences between Joseph Robinette Biden and Donald Trump.
Maybe you're just
and more
too
importantly,
French for
it's
them
not
to
showing
even appeal for your
exactly
votes.
how they will not
Because
by using
what
this,
what
but
what
actually,
you people like
using their
Hassan need to
actions.
realize
There's a one
is
party.
that they say it all the time. It's like both parties are liberal.
Mm.
Yeah. So who do you think is easier for the fucking Democrats to get? You or another liberal?
Probably the regular libs.
Right? Like the people who are deciding election aren't fucking communists. They're like a few thousand people in like Michigan. Actually,
Yeah.
Minnesota, they're definitely going to go blue. So you could say they're communists who vote there. But like it's going to go blue regardless. It's not a deciding state.
When's that Civil War movie coming out?
Oh, it's already out in because it's at South by. So I've
Yeah.
already looked at reviews and stuff for it.
Good
and
or
that's good, but it's suffers with something that Alex Garland tends to suffer with.
Okay.
Too many like characters.
Okay.
Because remember how like that's the thing that I was criticizing about Annihilation, how the one
Mhm.
girl she like spelt stuff out that she like cut herself and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it should have been implied. And the other one who's gay, right? I was
Mhm.
like, she was clearly already implying that she was gay. It didn't need to be spelt out.
Mhm.
And just things like that. Like the way they developed characters, I thought was a little too obvious in Annihilation. So I guess there's some of that type of stuff.
It's interesting you say that because what's the
Chinchillas are
AI
fighting.
one? What's the AI movie?
Ex Machina.
Ex Machina.
Stop
has 3
fighting.
characters.
Yeah.
And it is one of the best
so
movies
like
I've ever
28,
seen.
28 Days Later that he wrote also
the
has
same.
very limited characters.
Yeah. And they're both fantastic movies. So that's very interesting that you say that.
He also did Sunshine, which only is like on a ship, right?
Yeah.
Because they're going to restart the sun. I
Man.
haven't seen it.
God, if he did Halo like he was meant to, that would have been so good. There's like 4 characters in Halo, realistically. So that would have been fantastic. Oh, that's so disappointing.
But also just the fact
System
that
just-
like wasn't it? Is it Jackson and Del Toro who are also going to be attached? I know it's Jackson.
Yeah, someone like that.
I think it was Del Toro directing. No. It's Neil Blomkamp. He was
That's
the one who
right.
directed. Just did District 9, and
Yeah.
Garland was writing.
God, that would have been so good. Oh, it would have been so good. That would have been so good. And because they also have that level in Africa as well, that would have been perfect. He's based in South Africa. They could have gotten
The
what's
Battle
the
of
city
New
called?
Mombasa.
Mombasa, yeah. They could have done that.
That would have been
That would have
just
been sick.
yeah, because like what's interesting is like in the game, like does the battle just like it continues when the ship leaves? Like the Covenant are still invading Earth.
No, I'm pretty sure they glass it.
Earth?
No, just that city. I'm pretty sure they glass the
Well,
city.
no,
like,
the
at
ship
the end of the
warps.
mission.
The ship warps.
Ah, that's right.
Remember? And
Sorry,
and,
I'm thinking of Reach. Reach is the one where you're in the helicopter and they're glassing the city.
yeah.
Sorry.
Well,
I'm
so
thinking
like
of-
yeah. So the thing is that, but I think like it was just that ship though, the
Mhm.
capital ship. But I think they were still invading Earth.
Yeah, they were trying to. I think they actually fought them off, if I'm thinking about it.
Well, that's what you're kind of doing.
Yeah.
But I thought they kept fighting on Earth, and like you do the whole story and come back to Earth, and that's when you're coming back to
Halo
Earth to
3,
finish the
yes.
fight. So I think the
Yes, Halo
Covenant are
3,
still
yeah.
on Earth by the end of
Yes.
2. So if that's the case, you could basically make it where it's not even about Master Chief, but the Marines that are still on Earth holding the Covenant back. Because they did
Yeah.
that little movie Forward Onto Dawn.
So good.
Oh, I didn't see it, but
I loved
and
it. It
like
was
they
great.
also have a little movie. They have a little live action movie short that they do about
Nightfall.
yeah, Sergeant Johnson when they do in the 3rd game.
It wasn't
Where they-
Johnson, it was Locke.
Okay.
Spartan Locke.
So he like sees him, but he gets him like he detects him falling to Earth, and they find the armor lock on him.
Oh, you mean in the game?
Yeah, no, there's a
Yeah,
live
sorry.
action thing. that they
I
shot.
didn't know
It's a
about that.
short. Yeah, there's tons of Halo shorts and stuff.
Interesting. Okay.
So it's like it's actually really good. Like
Mm.
like it's done like on a low budget with like practical effects and stuff. And they acquire them. It's like Rogue One. They acquire them at the last
Yeah.
second and die basically. And that's like it in because like Halo 3 kind of just starts and you're like, wait, what's going on?
Yeah, they're kind of
So
just
like
there.
this little thing was like an intro thing, like a
Interesting.
prequel story. But like there's that whole section that you could
Mhm.
do.
True. There's so much. Even just from the core games, there's so much that they could do. I mean,
Well,
the
blame
majority of the
Microsoft.
2 and
Blame
3
game
on
companies.
Earth.
They're the worst
Yeah,
companies that exist, bro.
they
All
really
right, let's
are.
move on from Hassan because we paused on him long enough.
Yeah.
It's Microsoft's fault that it didn't happen.
What do we got? Where's the Russia stuff in Glob?
No, it's in Russia.
Are you aware of a CIA psychological profile about you, sir? Would you be interested in hearing what the CIA had to say? This secret study portrays as a brilliant but dangerous megalomaniac who is likely to pursue his own aims in disregard of U.S. interests. He's an uncertain ally. Shall I go on, or would you prefer that I stop, sir?